we are still here at the Doomsor Must Stop Vigil happening today, 16th May. Is the first ever vigil held to stop the power crisis that has been going on 3 years now. And I'm joined currently by Elom Kumoji the tailor. Elikem Kumoji the tailor. I beg your pardon.
No,
tell us, how important is this vigil to you?
The Doomsor is affecting my work. I'm here on this vigil for the tailors at the pump for no. Once my family tip, me from like business has been, even though you have a generator, fuel is expensive. You know what I mean? So you can't really keep up. Your profits go low. So I'm here represented at the pump for the tailors. Doomsor must stop. It's nothing too personal. You know, there's a power ship. You know what a power ship is? Yeah. Did you know the government ordered 2 power ships that come? So for me, this is just to say, you know, please let it be quick, let it be in haste, because we need electricity to work, to function. Like for me, when the light goes off during the day, I might as well just pack and not work. You know what I mean? Because sometimes the fuel is expensive and profit margins are quite small. So yeah, I'm here joining the vigil just to urge whoever is responsible.
So it's 35 minutes after 7. You're welcome to my banner. We're going back to what happened last Saturday, and we're going to be. I think that I'm going to be revealing to you a face that we didn't know was part of the organizers. I'm being joined by Sarah Safoje. Now we're talking the hashtag Doomsor Must Stop. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
So you were part of the organizers?
Yes, we are the people behind the scenes.
Oh.
Because with a vigil, it's not just turning up on the day. There's a lot of background work to be done, and lots of nuts and bolts to put in place. I mean, you have to get a police permit, you have to secure a location, check the route, the police have to get involved to make sure it's going to be safe on the day. You have to also get things like megaphones, batteries. So there's a team of us who are firmly supporting the celebrities and getting everything in place so we could have a perfect event.
Did you expect that kind of turnout last Saturday?
No, I'm absolutely overwhelmed. Absolutely.
But what were you thinking? I mean, these are big stars. They have followers.
They have followers, but from past experience, people will say, oh, I'm going to be there, and you get a fantastic response on social media. But on the day, very few people can make it. Some people honestly have, Saturday is a busy day. We have funerals, weddings, people do their shopping. But I think Doomsor is such a universal problem. It's now become a shared reality. No one is immune. That people just felt, no, today I'm going to have my say. And also the celebrities pulling power is amazing. Yeah.
Did you get to a point where, because of the backlash, because of some of the criticisms, some of them wanted to leave the group? Did anybody want to give up at some points?
No. No, they didn't. I mean, there were moments when everyone was a bit, you know, saddened that for such an innocent act, being a citizen and speaking out, you could be tagged, called all kind of unmentionable names. It's very unfair, but once you are committed, you have to just stand up and say, I've started this, I'm going to finish it.
So do you feel that they are satisfied? Is this what they were hoping for?
They are satisfied.
We got a bit of power on Saturday and on Sunday, really. I don't know if that affected you.
Well, the interesting thing is that that very morning, we went to do a recce of the, and guess what we saw? Furiously working on the street lights around the venue. Now, that may be a coincidence. It may also have been some kind of message that we don't need this vigil, but it's very much needed. And we went through with it.
Let's talk about the people who were there. Who were they? Were they students? Were they workers?
They were everybody. Everybody. They were older people. There was a lady of 80 who was there, drove all the way from Akosombo. There were students, there were fitters, I mean, there were corporate people, there were lawyers. The interesting thing is I didn't actually see who were there. So the next day I got phone calls and people were tweeting me pictures that they were there. People I know, people that famous people, other celebrities, and realized that there was a completely diverse mix of people there.
I was a bit surprised when I saw Audrey Gajapo, I saw Comfort Okran.
I will never be surprised to see them. Audrey is my classmate. She's a firm supporter of any social cause, and Comfort the same.
Let's talk about the stories that were shared, because we've heard that people have some doomsday stories, very personal things. Sometimes when you go on a course like this, people would not understand you until they hear your story. So what are some of the stories that were shared?
Most of them were very sad. They were very sad, and sadly they involved loss of life. Those are the ones that were most touching. There was, for example, I mentioned the 80-year-old lady who came all the way from Akosombo purely because her granddaughter had died. Her daughter had a baby, was put in an incubator. First of all, let me tell you, the incubators are not enough. There's not enough power to power them, so they're putting 5 abreast, and even that, we are losing babies. She came because she just couldn't bear to think that another person's baby would be lost. There are also people whose glaucoma medication has to be kept chilled 24 hours. Imagine how they are suffering. Insulin-dependent people. I mean, we are playing with people's lives here. There's also armed robbery. It's on the rise. People are stealing. There's also a breakdown in the community. Those who have generators, the neighbors are complaining. But at the same time, you have to make a living. You have to exist. And then there was one gentleman there whose printing press, he's closed down. He tried for as long as possible. He laid off half his staff. He was working on a rotational shift. Now he's had to close down because the power blew his machines, the fluctuations. I have a friend who has a furniture factory. He leaves his home at night to go and work at night with his workers. Think of how that's affecting the family dynamics, the domestic situation. It's not just about getting light. It's about the whole nation's new normal. That's the term I just heard. And we have a shared reality we have to deal with. It's affecting everybody.
I've got my own doomsday story to share. My refrigerator got damaged and doesn't work now because of, the power situation. But the point is, this has been going on for a while. Can we get used to it?
Why should we get used to it?
Work with the timetable.
Why should we get used to it? Why should we get used to something that is so uncomfortable on so many different levels? I mean, we have earned the right to pay for power and get stable power. We know it's difficult for the government, for the ministry, but at least communicate clearly to us. We hear one thing in January, we hear another thing in February. Then a deadline is given to us, a promise. I don't know whether they call it a promise, a deadline. It's not met. What are we to do? They say the barges are coming. How do we know they will actually come? So then do we just stay in our homes until the barges don't come? I mean, it's 3 years? So we just said, oh, they're going to solve it, so let's wait. Then it's 4 years, then it's 5 years. It's not acceptable.
Let's talk about more criticism. Some people said before the vigil that you could direct this anger, this frustration at the power generators. So why don't you go to VRA or go to ECG, for instance, and make inquiries, let them tell you what the real situation is. Did you ever go there?
Absolutely. We've done it on individual basis. My ECG people know me very, very well. I'm there all the time asking them questions. But there's nothing that beats the power of the people to get their voices heard. I have been to ECG. I have talked to people who work in the ministries. Has it changed anything? No. I'm sure you've spoken to people at ECG.
I'm tired of calling that ECG
how many
phone
people
number
in Ghana have been calling ECG? Has it changed anything? No. Perhaps this will. But at least we feel that we must speak out. And it's not a crime. It's our constitutional right. We live in a democracy. Thank God for that.
Did anybody hear you?
I believe they did. I don't want to tempt fate, but I have had light in my area ever since the vigil.
Oh, can I move to you?
Please do.
So, because where I live, we're back to strict 24 hours off, 12 hours on. And sometimes the 12 hours, not even 12 hours, is less than 12 hours. What is up next, What next? Because we're still experiencing the reason you went on the streets.
Okay. Well, what's up next is we are strategizing. We are thinking very carefully about what is actually within our power and remit to do. And we will come out and make a statement. It's very early days now because we don't want to be unrealistic. We can't say, switch the lights back on. It's not going to happen. But we are asking for communication. We're asking for solutions that are sustainable so that we don't find ourselves next year having to go back on the streets again. We just want a long-lasting solution and give us a time frame that is fixed so that if we know, for example, I'll tell you, I'm a real estate developer, so I built some buildings and I invested in a very big generator because I thought, well, stand by. You know, now we are running this plant every other day. The tenants are feeling the pinch. This was not my plan. If I had known at the time I started construction that we were going to be in an extended period of this thing, I would have invested in green energy. I would have looked for solar. I would have looked for a different type of energy that did not consume fuel, which we are in shortage of. You know, so all these predictions, if we had been told categorically that, guys, buckle down, it's going to be 3 to 4 years before we get stable power, a lot of entrepreneurs and companies would have made different decisions. We could have planned better.
Have you had personal calls? Do people think that perhaps you're aligned to a certain political party? That's why you're on this course?
Absolutely, but this is Ghana. If you make a comment, sometimes you can even just say hello to someone in the wrong way. You are MPP, you are NDC. It doesn't bother me. My vote is my secret. I vote for the party I believe will do the best for Ghana. And I have the right to change at any time. Every 4 years, if I like, I can vote for a different party. So if you tag me, it doesn't bother me. For some people, it's very painful, and it has been much, much worse. Their businesses will be affected. Their brands will be damaged. Fortunately for me, I work for myself. I think I've built enough of a reputation that people know when I speak, I'm not doing it because I've been paid or coerced. I speak because I feel strongly, and I have a voice. And I speak on behalf of those who perhaps are not free to speak. And that's what keeps me going. There's been a lot of tagging, there's been a lot of rumors and accusations and allegations. I just hope the people who are saying this have the courage to stand in front of the people they are calling these names and say it. A lot of people hide behind the anonymity of Facebook, of tweet, and they are cowards. I say it today, they are cowards. If they can come up to me in the street, tell me what they think of me, say, I believe you've done X, Y, Z, and you are so, fine, I respect them. But so far as they're hiding behind Facebook, posting pictures, images, and putting... In fact, some of the things they say are just unacceptable. They are cowards.
You know, you feel this way about it. You're not bothered, obviously. But how about the celebrities? Sometimes I think about them.
It's hard for them. It's hard for them. Because the mere fact that you're a celebrity doesn't mean you don't have feelings. And you're out there, and many more people have access to them through their social media. For me, I have a few people on Facebook. They have thousands, hundreds of thousands. So imagine that even 20% of those people are turning against you. It's very hard, but they have shown amazing resilience. They have shown amazing resilience. I know some of them have been advised by family members, by industry people, you're going to lose sales. But at the point in time, you have to stand up for what you believe in. And I'm so happy and impressed that they have taken that challenge. They have accepted it. And I tell you, we will not stop.
When we come back, because I want us to listen to some of the celebs that we spoke to. When we come back, I'll ask, are they ready to do this again? With the response that they've received, with some of the criticism coming their way, are they ready to do this again? But let's go listen to them.
Amanda! Calm down. Remove her.
Thank you so much. You worked for me, you worked for yourselves, you worked for Ghana. I started this Doom Summer Stop campaign on social media, and I decided to come together with my colleagues here, D Black, Sarkodie, Bambeka, Kwekwe, Prince David Osei, Sydney. We all decided to take this walk. We want the government to hear our voices. Ghanaians are suffering. Ghana for your bread. I'm up for who hospital. A school for move me fridge, they be any do light. It's a map for bread, a map for who are hospitals. It's a percent government, so I'm going to say, yeah, pray as Ghanaians. We are suffering. We don't deserve this. Ghanaians deserve better. This has nothing to do with Party A or Party B. This is non-partisan. We need our lights back. We deserve better as Ghanaians. And we need our lights back. Doomso must stop.
I don't like Doomso, and I heard that if you don't like Doomso, you have to come here. I don't have any expectations because of the way the country is being run. But if things don't change, I think the next vigil will be held inside the Flagstaff House.
Listen, I just came here to speak as a concerned citizen, non-partisan. I don't belong to any political party. This is speaking as a person who's concerned, a Ghanaian citizen. Doomso must end. Let us understand what's going on. Let's understand why we don't have power. Give us reasons and solutions. We're not hearing none of this. It's been broken promises for so many years. It's not NDC, it's not MPP, it's Ghana. Doomso must stop.
Well, we expect that the government will listen to us. At least this small voice that we brought out, he will listen and then do good for us.
Did you like the crowd?
Oh, I don't believe in crowd. I believe in what we are saying and what has to be done. I believe it will be done. That's it.
What's your message to the president?
I want to tell him that he should order all the ministers to put up their air conditioners or their generators for one night and experience what we are experiencing. That's that. Just that.
Okay, so just that story reminds me of an incident at the Highways Ministry. Their lifts don't work, not because it doesn't work, but just to save energy. The CEO has asked them to use the stairs. So, you know, you use the stairs so that they can save a bit of energy. Did you get any response from the sector minister, from government, from ECG, or the power generators? Has anybody contacted you?
They haven't contacted us directly. The Minister of Power made some rather unfortunate remarks before the vigil. You know, and he totally, I think he chose his words very, very wrong. And since then we haven't heard anything. We haven't had any word from anyone related to government. And that's quite surprising.
But you didn't invite them to the vigil, did you?
Are they not Ghanaians? We invited everyone. Everyone was invited. We all posted, come one, come all.
Maybe they needed some special invites.
That day, everyone was equal. There was no special invites.
The question that I asked, would they want to do it again?
They will. We had a meeting on the Monday after, and they're all committed. They're all committed. We had a full meeting. We discussed the successes, the challenges, planning gaps, what we could have done better, how we could have prepared differently. And with one voice, they all said they would do it again. Hopefully, we will never have to do it again because the government will hear and will listen and will act. This is just a small representation of the Ghanaian public. You know, celebrities are celebrities, but the ordinary people need solutions as well.
I heard there was one going to be held in Kumasi. Are you involved?
Not directly. They had already decided, but obviously we support their right as Ghanaians to they are doing a vigil and a very long walk. And if they do ask for any support, we will definitely lend it.
Well, what kind of support can you give them?
Well, I think lessons learned.
Okay.
Lessons learned. For us, one thing, we only had megaphones because we wanted so much to adhere to the
ban on
even though,
drumming.
Let me put on record, it didn't affect that area. But you know, you need some kind of alliance with the cultural, you know, traditions. So if we would have had a PA system, because we were not able to communicate, we had a lot of speeches lined up, but it was futile. The crowd was so geared up, they were so loud themselves. We would also probably have thought of a different venue which could contain more people, because I assure you there were people at the mall who couldn't get across the road. I mean, estimates of the people there range between 5,000 to 10,000. There was a point in time when there was just a sea of bodies. You could not see the end of the people walking. And if I tell you that it took them 2 hours to walk from the Legon gate, which is 30 to 45 minutes, you can get an idea of how many people were moving slowly, step by step.
Yeah, I was on radio, so I was following and I was waiting. Thank you. I was waiting for the messages, the experiences, the Doomso Must Stop stories. And I thought, oh, when the vigil ended, I was like, oh, but I didn't quite hear anything.
But now that you've seen the video, you can understand what was going on. First of all, our stage was a homemade stage. Let me tell you, it's a very interesting story. We had no budget for this vigil. We were determined not to accept any money from anyone who would then turn around and say, I paid for the vigil.
But did people offer to give you something?
From our own pockets.
But no external person offered to give
we didn't. On the day of the vigil, a young gentleman gave me 500 cedis. He said, look, take this to buy water for everybody, for the celebrities. That was at the end of the vigil.
So that was, just about the only donation or any money that you accepted.
Yes.
So who paid for the megaphone?
Oh, like I bought one megaphone. One of our team, he borrowed his mother's church megaphone. Another person had a megaphone. The stage was constructed from pallets that were in one of our team's backyard. He built it himself. Someone brought a pickup to transport. Another person brought ice chests. Some people bought boxes of water. And really, that was the only investment we made.
How about the T-shirt? Because we had
T-shirts
some people
were printed.
Selling T-shirts.
Now, you see, there's a bit of confusion. The Dumso Must Stop, the one you see Yvonne wearing, that was printed by a friend, free of charge. He printed only 60 of those. Now, there were other T-shirts that were sold on the road, nothing to do with us. Actually, the vigil made a lot of business for people. People sold bobo, people sold candles, and so I was excited. On a day when we're doing this, people are also
trying to make money on the side.
You need to, because they maybe have to buy some fuel for their generator or not. And so, no, there was no money received, but it was a worthy cause,
Those doing it in Kumasi, do you know the Kumasi story in terms of the power situation?
Yeah, I used to live in Kumasi. Okay. And it's much worse than it is.
Oh, really?
Oh, it's much worse. It's much worse than it is here. It's much worse.
This whole political twist that people tend to give, anytime you object to something or you want your voice to be heard, you want people to know where you stand on something. That's something that is quite worrying. Sometimes I feel it's to deter you, to stop you from embarking on it, because then you'll be thinking about, all the things that people will be saying about you. And that's why I think that you were brave in still going ahead with this, irrespective of all the things that were going around. But there was a point, really, that we thought this vigil may not come off at all. That was when the people stepped in and said, oh, no, this is taking another turn. Were you expecting all that?
Yes, we were actually.
Oh.
You see, what people don't know is the backstory. As soon as we decided to embark on this vigil, we did the right things. We took the right steps. And the first thing is to inform the police. As soon as we met with the police the first day, they pointed out, they said, you do know that there's a ban on noise making at that period. So can you adjust your dates? So celebrities were there, we, the organizers, were there, and we played with dates. We played with different dates. And every other date, there was either I think the NUGS or SRC were having a demonstration. There was another thing. So this was the only day that the police were free. And the police were very clear that they needed a day when they would be completely free so they could give us their full resources to protection. Also, there were dates when some of the celebrities were not going to be in town. They were filming out of Accra. It was really, really tricky. So this was the best date we could settle on. So leaving that meeting, we knew we had to contend with the traditional council. What people tend to forget is that when you decide to embark on something like this, you get the best equipped, best skilled people around you. We had lawyers who knew these matters in and out. We consulted with some of the residents in La, and we clearly defined the boundaries. And so we knew we were on the right side of the law. But we didn't take it for granted. We met with the La Ulomo, we met with the Gamashi people, and we assured them.
You met with the Gamashi
Not
people?
me personally.
Yeah, but the team met with them.
The team, the police met with them. A very small team. And they ascertained that, we could go ahead with no noise making. It was funny, the police said no vuvuzelas. That was their biggest problem. No drums, no vuvuzelas.
But there was Jama?
Jama is a voice, and you can't tell me that the noise making includes people selling things on the roadside, shouting, trotro, planques, calling. Does that cover? No. And then with the venue was never in question, and that was what people got confuse that. It was where we would converge. Our first idea was outside the Legon University Stadium. It was never,
ever,
it
wasn't in the stadium
never going to be in the stadium, never going to be on campus. Now, the very first day we went to inspect it, the security men said, there might be a problem, so just be warned. So then we immediately crossed over the road, went to On the Run, and he said he had no objection to us converging in front of the run. It was then, I must stress, the vigil was never going to take place anywhere else but where it did take place. Now, the powers that be, whoever, Total is well within their rights to say that they don't want us to hold anything on their premises. They are business, they are multinational. University are as well, perfectly within their rights. And I understand their letter because we hadn't informed them, as we had no intention of actually going onto the campus. So that was something that was never made clear in the media. So I'm putting it straight now.
Yeah, so it sounded a bit disorganized when we had, because I had some of my panelists actually say on air that the organizers seemed disorganized. This was a week before the vigil.
We were never disorganized. We were, in our own personal lives, we are extremely organized. And when we take something as major as this, which is going to get national and international exposure, we are even more careful to make sure we do the right things. So I'm very glad I have the opportunity now to say this to your viewers.
And you mentioned international exposure. Were you expecting BBC to cover, Al Jazeera to cover?
Yes, we were.
Aftermath, Daily Mail picking the story and all that?
Yes, we were. Because I don't care what anyone says, Ghana is very much in the international limelight. Sometimes for good reasons, sometimes for the wrong reasons. Whatever happens here in Ghana is not going to stay within our borders. And we must be very cognizant of that and do the right thing. Because whatever we do here gets exposed all over the world. I mean, China, I couldn't understand it, but they had a very extensive coverage of the vigil in one of their major papers. I'm looking for Lloyd Amwa to translate it.
What's their interest?
China is very interested in Ghana. Everything we use, and even our, well, let me not be political.
I get it, I know, I know. But you know, some people have also said that that's bad publicity for us. That doesn't speak well of the country, because you know, this is not a positive situation. Power crisis isn't. So any action to get government's attention to it would definitely also not be positive. That's not good for our image.
Well, it's a two-sided coin. It's not a good image for the people producing the power, but it's a good image for the people of Ghana that we can demonstrate peacefully. We take to the streets to get our message heard, and we do it peacefully in an orderly fashion, abiding by the laws of the land. And that shows that we are a country that respects the rule of law and the Constitution. So you can look at it two ways.
If you had known, if you had seen the picture as you see it now, aftermath, where would you have held this vigil?
The stadium.
Ah.
We would have sought permission and had a wonderful...
That would never have happened because, you know, that is a typical Gamashi area. So the ban on noise making
would got a very good point.
Wildly affected you.
We would have looked for...
Maybe the trade fair, that's a lie.
Trade fair,
that's a lazon.
Trade fair was going to be our plan B.
Okay.
It was going to be our plan B. But I think there was a concert that evening at the trade fair, which surprisingly the Gamashi people hadn't tried to stop, by the way. I'm just putting that on record.
Would you ever go to, finally, this is fine now, you know, One Love is talking about Flagstaff. Is it a plan from the organizers, or
well,
this is just
One
a
Love is not
thing?
part of the organizing team. He wasn't part of the initial celebrities. So whatever he says is his own personal. We have been in this space for some time, and we wouldn't, it's not necessary to go to the Flagstaff House. If we were going to pick it anywhere, obviously, logically, it would be one of the Power ECG or something, but we're not about picketing. This was a vigil just to communicate our displeasure with what is going on and to ask the government to, you know, come back to the table, let us know what the solutions will be and when they'll be delivered.
Okay, so you're not strategizing for another vigil, you say?
Never say never.
When would it likely be?
Whenever we see that there's no solution in sight and the government is not doing anything to solve it.
I need some words of encouragement. Yesterday, I was frustrated because the light had gone. We're supposed to be on a 24-hour cycle. I got home at 6. We didn't have light. The light came on and went. Around like 7, we still didn't have light. And I picked my phone. I wanted to put something on Facebook, and then I thought again, and I put the phone down.
Okay, first of all, why did you think again?
It's just the twist that people will put on to what I post.
For me, I can say categorically, I am optimistic. I think that they are working on it. I just think that maybe they haven't fully grasped how urgent and how dire the situation is. This vigil is one in a step of communiques that other people are also sending this message. We are not the first people to have spoken. It will get to a point where they focus their energies on giving us some solutions that are workable. For me, I cannot sit here and believe that people are dying in hospitals because there's no power. And for me, that even if they just do that initially, I know we all want power in our house, even if they can remedy that situation, it will be a big step in the right direction. So I am looking for the small steps. I'm not looking for an overnight miracle. I'm looking for the small steps.
But when you hear the Power Minister say the things he said, then you're wondering, are they really listening to us?
Well, the Power Minister is prone to making comments about keep fit walks and other things. I don't really take what he says as the voice of the government. I would hope that the people who are actually in charge don't feel the way he does.
Well, I thank you for your time this morning.
I thank you for having me.
But the next time you're going on the vigil, I want a t-shirt. It doesn't matter where I am after my show. I will join you because I'm also personally affected.
Good. Everyone is personally affected. It's a shared reality all Ghanaians have. And you get a t-shirt, even though you were not able to attend, you were there in spirit.
Yeah,
and I have to commend Joy for the excellent coverage.
Yeah, and Joy News as well. Television also give you extensive coverage.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, thank you for your time. We wish you well.
Thank you, Mama V.
All right, stay on with us. It's Talk next.